What's up, guys? You're listening to another episode of Selling on Amazon with Andy Isom. Your budget isn't stopping you, your conviction is. I talk to a lot of people who are interested, obviously, in starting their own brands on Amazon. And a common response that I get, or concern from people who are interested in getting started but haven't quite gotten started or afraid to take that first step, is that they don't have the budget necessary to be successful. And the more that I do online business and the more people that I talk to, the more that I realize it's not your budget that is stopping you. It's not your budget that is keeping you from giving this business a legitimate chance. It's your conviction in your chances of success with the business. I saw a really interesting video on Instagram the last few days from someone who I actually have followed for quite some time. He's in like the online business coaching space. His name is Dan Henry. And someone else was actually doing a street interview with him. And Dan Henry has made multiple millions of dollars with online business. And this other guy who was interviewing him on the street for his own social media content asked Dan like what the biggest difference he sees between like the middle class and the high earners who build a legitimate wealth. And Dan grabs a backpack and he says, "Would you buy this backpack from me for $1,000? And it was a pretty basic backpack, like like a JanSport backpack. And the interviewer like immediately said, "Probably not." And Dan said, "That is why you're poor, or that is what separates the middle class from the upper class, from the extreme wealth, right? Is the wealthy, the upper class, they ask what's inside. Because if there was $100,000 cash inside that backpack that you didn't know about, then buying that backpack for $1,000 is a huge steal. And if you didn't have $1,000 in that moment, but you asked like what's inside the backpack, and I said the person said there's $100,000 cash in here. How much are you selling it for? $1,000 and you didn't have $1,000, you would go find it. I guarantee you would call your credit card company, you would go to the bank, you would do whatever you had to. You would call your mom, your best friend. You would do whatever you had to in that moment to find $1,000 cash as soon as possible to buy that backpack. Because there's $100,000 cash in it. That's an easy ROI, right? But again, so many people are stuck in the limiting mindset of just seeing like the face price, the face cost of what it is to invest in a program, or start their business, order inventory, pay for product photography, get a branding kit. Like they see all these costs, like what does it cost? Oh, the backpack costs $1,000. The Amazon business costs $10,000 to launch. It costs $5,000. It costs $20,000, whatever, the budget is that you want to give it a shot with. And that's all they see. And they can't get past that. They don't ask what's inside the backpack. Or for, starting your own brand on Amazon, what do I get from that investment? What do I get from that investment? Now, obviously, it's easy to say, if you looked inside a backpack and you saw $100,000 cash, it's a given, it's a guarantee. You give the guy $1,000, you get $100,000 back. It's right there for you to see. Now with online business, right? It's not quite that straightforward. Unfortunately, it's not quite that guaranteed to where we could say, oh, you give $1,000, you're going to get back $100,000 in an instant, guaranteed in the transaction. There's other work involved, right? You got to execute the strategy. You got to, do all the different steps of the process and be successful with it and grow and scale and go through, the struggles and the hurdles to be successful with your brand. But still, it's that issue of, it's not the budget that's the issue. Because in the same way that you would go find $1,000 cash to buy that backpack, if you were that convinced, if you had such a strong conviction that your business, your brand would be successful, you would go find the money to make it successful. Like let's say there was a scenario where if you had, let's use $20,000, right? Stretch the budget a little bit further. If you had $20,000 or you needed $20,000, that's what I should say. You need $20,000 to start your brand on Amazon. But there's a glass box, and inside the glass box is $183,000 cash. And if you deposit $20,000 in 1 year, you get to open that box and take out the $183,000 cash. Would you go find the $20,000 to start your business? You have to wait a year. Heck, let's say you have to wait 2 years. You got to wait 2 years. But if you put $20,000 cash into this machine, this box, whatever, in 2 years, you get to come back, and in that big glass box that has $183,000 cash, you get to take that out. Would you do it? That's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. If it was 100% guaranteed, you would do it. You would go find $20,000. You would borrow it from the bank. You do whatever you need to do to get that $20,000 because you know, guaranteed, in 2 years, you get to go back to that place and get the $183,000 cash out of the box. And what if you got to get $183,000 cash out of that box every single year after that? How much more would you be convinced that you need to go get $20,000 cash and go, deposit it to get this deal? You would do it. But again, it's understanding where is your conviction in this process. If you're not convinced, or your belief, your personal belief, self-doubt, whatever it is, if your personal belief is super, super low, like either you don't believe in yourself, or you don't believe in the business model, you don't believe in your product idea, you're not going to be willing to invest the cash to get the reward because you don't believe the reward exists. It's kind of like, let's say you can't actually see the $183,000 cash in a box. You can't physically see it, but someone tells you, hey, if you give me $20,000, 2 years from now, you can come back to me and I'll give you $183,000. I'll write you a check for $183,000. Now that's probably not quite as convincing as seeing it with your eyes. So your conviction goes down a little bit, but still, now it comes down to, do you trust that person? Or if let's say that person is an Amazon business, do you trust the business? Do you trust the business model? Do you believe that the business model is a viable way to invest your money to get the ROI down the road? That's really what it comes down to. And that's what it comes down to with really any business that you're interested in starting. It doesn't really have to be Amazon. It could be anything. It could be buying a rental property. If it was absolutely guaranteed, we would all go find a way to make it happen. But with anything, there's always some level of risk involved. And the level of risk can be a factor of your skill set. Are you good at online business? Do you have an eye for design, for good products? So if you're going to do this on your own, that skill set needs to be really high. If you're going to try this on your own with no help, you better be really good at all those things, or you're not going to get the reward that you think you're going to get. So if you're not good at those things, you need people to help you who are good at those things. And I promise you, I'm not trying to turn this into a pitch. I'm not trying to turn this into a pitch of my coaching programs. I'm just saying that's just how it is in life, in any business. You need to have realistic expectations. And then when you do have realistic expectations, that is what is going to affect your conviction. You're going to know, hey, I'm not very good at this. I'm not very good at, making hamburgers. If you want to go open a burger joint, your own restaurant, if you don't know how to cook a good hamburger, are you going to have a lot of faith that your hamburger restaurant's going to take off and be really successful? Probably not. But if you make a killer burger that you've been making for years and your friends love coming over to eat your burgers, if you decided to open your own burger restaurant, wouldn't you feel a lot better about it being an actual success? Probably. So that is what plays a big factor in whether or not you end up being successful, how much money you make from your business or whatever endeavor it is that you're in, is your level of conviction. Your level of conviction, but also having those realistic expectations and the self-awareness to understand, do you have what it takes to be successful with this? If not, you need the people who are good enough to be successful with this to help you with it or to do it for you, whatever it is, right? If you're not good at cooking burgers, go hire the best burger chef in town. And guess what? Chances of you having a successful restaurant probably go up quite a bit. So what it really comes down to when you're trying to decide, do you want to start this business or not? And really what we're getting to is, do you want to get the funds necessary to give it a legitimate chance of success? Because can you start with $1,000, $2,000, $3,000? Yeah. Like I said, I've said this on the last few episodes, there are ways that you could, but is that going to give it a legitimate chance of success? No, it's not. I'm just here to tell you it's not. I've worked with hundreds of people. It's not. Legitimate chance of success, you're going to want, now I've been telling people $10,000 just because you just got to be that much better. It's not 2020 anymore. I know I get messages saying, Andy, are episodes 1 through 8 still relevant? Yeah, there's a lot of principles and philosophies in there that are timeless, that are going to be relevant forever. But as far as what's the competition like in the landscape now, the X's and O's, you got to be that much better. We're going on 3-4 years since those episodes that were recorded. A lot has changed since then, and a lot will continue to change. You got to just, every day that passes, you got to be that much better. You got to be that much more strategic in your execution and your offerings and everything. So what I would invite you to do, if you're in the situation where you're like, I don't have the budget, I don't have the money, is really look at your conviction. Look at your conviction. It probably means you don't understand the business model enough to be convinced or believe that it can be successful for you. It's either that's the issue. So my invitation would be, you just need to research more, listen to more episodes, go watch YouTube videos, invest in a course or ebook or something to learn more about the overall business model so you know what it takes to be successful. Then when you know what it takes, then you got to ask yourself, do I have what it takes? I know what it takes to be successful because I've researched and I know the step by step. I know everything I need to do to execute. Do I have what it takes to do that? If not, you got to get the coaching, you got to get the practice, you got to get, the people involved. I don't know why this is coming to mind right now, but golf. You could, maybe you've never played golf in your life. You can go and research, watch videos, go see some tutorials and this is how you hold a golf club. This is how you swing. These are the rules of golf. These are the different parts of the golf course. These are the different clubs that you hit a golf ball with. You do all that research. Okay, I understand the concept of golf. It's a little white ball. You hit it really far. You got to try to make it in the little hole within 3 or 4 shots to be good, right? Really good. Well, now you got to decide, are you good at golf? Do you have the skill set to swing a golf club? If you're a baseball player, yeah, I play baseball. You kind of got to swing down. Baseball players traditionally are pretty decent golfers because they've been swinging a long stick, So just instead of swinging it flat, bend over and swing it at the ground. But if you don't have that background and you can ask yourself, not very athletic, don't really swing stuff, hand-eye coordination, not really there. It's going to take a lot more practice, a lot more coaching, a lot more effort to be decent at golf than a baseball player who's been playing baseball their whole life. Yeah, I could pick up a golf club and probably figure it out pretty quick. So figure out, understand, learn what it takes to be successful with this. Ask yourself if you have what it takes to be successful with this. And if you don't have what it takes, but you want to have what it takes, or you believe in the business, then you need to get the help that you need to be successful with it. And if you do that, you'll be successful. That's the bottom line. You just got to be willing to take the steps necessary to be successful. It's the people who try to do things that they're not capable of or that they shouldn't be doing on their own. They don't have the skill set to do, and they don't practice, and they don't invest the time and money and energy that they need to be successful with it. Buying the golf clubs, getting to the course, getting on the driving range, hiring a coach or whatever it is to be good at golf. They're never going to be good at golf. You don't just magically go pick up a golf club and you're good at golf. Nobody is like that. Golf is one of the hardest sports on earth. It takes effort, time, practice, investment, money to be a good golfer. And for some people, it takes more than others. So have that self-awareness, understand what it takes, and increase, if I could say, before you start, increase your conviction. You need more conviction. And if you have the conviction that you're going to be successful, you're going to find the budget to make it happen. Guys, once again, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Selling on Amazon with Andy Isom. We'll see you in the next episode.